What made you decide what you wanted to do now rather than being a real doctor?
First of all, I am a real doctor. I guess when I first realized that something wasn't right or I needed to do something different was when my dad got sick. I had just become a doctor. I was doing my residency at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. That's when my mom called me and she told me that my dad was sick. She said that he had just been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's like a 4 or 5 month death sentence.
What is it?
Pancreatic cancer is cancer of the pancreas. By the time that you diagnose it, it's spread so far, it's very hard to stop it. And so most people die after 4 months of being diagnosed. I met with all the oncologists, met with the doctors, and they recommended surgery called a Whipple procedure, which is like one of the most horrendous surgeries that you can have for your stomach. My dad was in the hospital for about a month. He lost so much weight. He looked like a skeleton. It was heartbreaking. The doctor said there's probably still cancer cells in his body and recommended chemo. My dad was a fighter. He didn't want to just give up. So I did more research and I found this institute in San Diego called the Optimal Health Institute. I enrolled both of us for 2 weeks. We were only able to be there 1 week because his lungs started filling up with fluid filled with cancer cells. But in that 1 week, I learned more about health, about how the digestion works, how the body functions, how the body heals itself, than all the years in medical school and all the years that I spent at Hopkins. After one of the classes, my dad looked up at me and he says, "If only I would have known about this sooner." That was the most helpless feeling that I've ever felt. I was this doctor, but I couldn't even help my dad. All I could say was, "Me too." After I got him home, he passed away within a month. So I just put my head down and started one of the biggest hospitalist medical groups in Southwest Florida. I had contracts with most of the physicians in town where we would admit their patients because they knew the quality that we provided and we were going to make them feel comfortable and at home and talk to them and we're going to communicate and they felt a part of the care. One of the things that we recognized when I was working in the hospital is it's scary. It's scary to go in the hospital. And I knew this because I spent a month in the hospital with my dad. And when you don't know anyone and you don't know any of the doctors, you don't know any of the nurses, you don't know what's going on with your body. You don't even know if you're going to come out of the hospital alive. That is the most scary feeling that you can have. And it's that fear that I remembered that my dad had when he was in the hospital and how I was able to explain to him what was going on and what was next and what the oncologist came in and used all these big medical terms and what does that actually mean. I remember what it was like when he had me there by his side to guide him through all of that. So I did that for every single patient that I had in the hospital. So that's what basically I did for 15 years. But the part that was not fulfilling is the fact that no one really got better. So we would get people out of the hospital and then they would just end up right back. So we weren't really helping people to get better, to get healthier. All we were doing was we were treating their symptoms. We'd give them medications. A lot of times we would save their life in the hospital because they're in crisis mode. But they just went and ate the same things. They drank the same things. They taken more medications that caused more issues, and people were just getting sicker. And here's the thing. I was getting sicker. I gained weight. I had back pain. I was
From what though?
stress And when you're around sickness, you become sick. And that's the mentality. No one's happy in the hospital. It's a sick environment. And I was getting sick. The stress of it all, not taking care of myself, and most importantly, I wasn't doing what I knew that I needed to do, that I promised my dad that I would do. And so I knew that this wasn't the way. It just ate at me over time, and I had to step away. And so what I did was I went on like a whole spiritual journey where I did all this personal development. And it was at that time where I was like, I can't just let people suffer. I can't let people just die without the knowledge. People have to know about this. I didn't know. I was a doctor and I didn't know. And so that's when the seed was planted. Some sort of way I have to educate people. So I gathered all the information and I put it in a book. Then I just started teaching people on the concepts that were in the book and helping people master their own vitality. And I never looked back. And that was the defining moment. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Let's get home. We got to wash some cars.